If you're like me and you've never heard the term sleep hygiene, well, you are not alone. This was a new to me terminology in my adulthood. For our eldest, we hired a sleep consultant when he was about 6 months old. And one of the first questions she asked was, how was his sleep hygiene? And I said, what? And so I'll save you that consulting fee and we'll dig into a little bit more about what sleep hygiene is and why it's important and why proper sleep hygiene implementation will save you, your family, and anybody else that may be residing in your house at night for a better night's sleep. Maybe you're a little bit bleary-eyed, so go ahead and settle in with your cup of coffee, and we are going to learn how to implement sleep hygiene for a better night's rest. Now, let's start with the definition of sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene refers to both the environment as well as a set of practices that you put into implementation. And these habits and implementations, as well as the environment that you create, are designed to promote consistent, uninterrupted, restful sleep to improve your actual sleep quality. Great. Who doesn't want that, right? Now, why is that important outside of just the benefit of having a really good night's rest? Because the quality of your sleep can significantly impact your physical and mental well-being, as well as your daily performance and productivity. Bottom line. Now, for you naysayers out there, there are a whole internet's worth of statistics out there to tell you how bad chronic sleep deprivation is for you. Let's list off why. Learning, memory, mood, reaction time, mental health, physical health. These are all things none of us really want to dabble with if we don't have to. But there is one statistic that I do want you to remember, and I'm going to look at my screen over here so that I don't mess it up. But chronic sleep restriction, which means routinely getting less than 7 hours of sleep every night for a week, requires more than 3 nights to recover, to return to your fully rested levels. So if you're saying to yourself, oh, I'll just catch up on the weekends. Science has proven that doesn't work. And the reason I want you to remember this is because this quote seems really normal, right? Like sleeping on less than 7 hours regularly and having that mindset of like, oh, I'll just make it up on the weekends or whatever. It actually doesn't work out. So what is the prescribed amount of sleep time? So for adults, we need 7 to 8 hours. For adolescents, they need 10. Depending upon the age of your infant, they need even more. And if you aren't sure about you and your family or your specifics, obviously, please go ask your doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just looking at what the research has indicated out there on the interwebs. And the other thing is, I'm not here to shame you into sleeping more. I'm trying to highlight that good sleep is vitally important. So here's what you can do about it and what I paid a wonderful sleep coach to tell me. So number one, the environment. So yes, your actual bedroom space is a determining factor in your sleep quality. Outside of the normal, you need a comfortable mattress, pillow, coverlet, whatever your actual bed situation is. Your room needs to be cool. And typically that looks like anywhere between 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit at night. It needs to be dark. And I do not mean like, I just let the moon shine in. No. We need this to be pitch black. So you can either invest in some really nice eye covers. There are very cheap ones on Amazon that you can get. Or you can invest if you really want to go the route of getting blackout curtains. I have done both depending upon the room in my house. And the other piece to this is you need to have a quiet space. Now, if you live in a place where it is not very quiet, I live out in the country in Arizona, so I don't really have like a noise issue per se. But I do personally believe in white noise machines because they really truly block environmental noises very effectively. And for me, when we were sleep training my son, and I'm trying to help him get to sleep, it has truly turned into this Pavlovian like cue for me. So when I hear the noise machine go on, the room is dark and cool, I'm like, I'm ready to go. And it worked for my kids as well, I will say. And then the last tidbit for your room environment specifically, and I'll just put this out there for all consenting adults. Your room needs to be used in its intended purpose. So that involves sleeping, relaxation, and again, for those consulting adults, sex. Our sleep coach was a big advocate of saying, like, don't eat, don't watch TV, don't do other things in bed. Use it for that intended purpose because your brain will associate the actual being in bed with it's time to rest. Number 2, the routine. Yes, having an evening routine helps your brain start winding down. By the time you're actually in bed, it is quick for you to drift off. So here are the top 4 points to work on before bedtime. So point number 1 is target going to bed and waking up around the same time every single day, because this actually helps regulate your body's internal clock. Point number 2, if you had an ideal evening routine, what would that look like? How would that fit in your regular day-to-day life? What things would you incorporate in that? This could look like reading before bed, taking a bath, taking a hot shower, meditating, writing, journaling, prayer, whatever feels most relaxing to you, and whatever that looks like, assuming that it's realistic with your time and situation, what can you accomplish regularly? Again, we're training our brains and our bodies to learn when it's time to rest. Point number 3, and I think we all know this, we need to limit and eliminate exposure to screens and light before we go to bed. So we've already talked about those eye covers, but that doesn't mean you crawl into bed and relax by scrolling the grid. So more so than any color, blue light actually messes up with your melatonin. And melatonin is that hormone that your body releases to say, I'm getting sleepy and ready. Point 4, be cognizant of the foods that you're ingesting before bed. This could be a heavy meal in general. It could be spicy foods. It could be caffeine and alcohol, because all of these can actually impact your sleep quality. By practicing good sleep hygiene, you actually get a boost in all of those areas that suffer when you're having sleep deprivation. So your mood, your mental health, your physical health, your overall well-being. So all of these areas start to come back up because you're actually rested. Now, polite caveat here, I am not a medical professional, but as someone who struggled with a child to get into a sleep routine and who was very sleep deprived, can't even say it correctly, for a long time, I will say that if you're having any particular issues, obviously see your physician. But these are all things that you can safely implement and practice and see how they work out for you and your family. Now, I'm sure you're curious, so I'm going to tell you. Here's my evening routine. 7 p.m., my alarm goes off. I set up what I need to for my following morning. So I get my earbuds set out. I get my cozy blanket. I make sure all my coffee stuff is prepped, my vitamins. I make sure all my devices are plugged in. So that happens. I don't know. That takes me like 15 minutes or so. Now, 7:30 rolls around, and that's the time where I get my toddler in particular ready for bed. So shower, bath time, we read some books, brushing of hair, brushing of teeth, put the PJs on, and we set the thermostat for the evening. Now, I do all of those things in his bedroom. So he has blackout curtains. We set the noise machine. We have the room really dimly lit, and we have some like little starlights that are over his bed area. And that's all the light that we have. And we'll read a couple books. And usually within the 15, 20 minutes it takes me to read 2 to 3 books for him, I'm ready to go to bed. And if you can believe it, I'm usually in bed by 8 p.m. So with all of that being said, I wish you restful slumber. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe, let me know in the comments, and I wish you a good night's rest. Until next time, bye, Mama.